Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you some really simple and fun cards that I created using these Spellbinders Cut and Emboss folders. Now I love these folders because they not only emboss, but they also have these little cutouts, and you can see the beautiful embossed background here on this card that I've already created. I'm going to be making another card similar to my first one. And I'm doing that with some watercolors. Now these are the new aqua pigments from Brutus Monroe. I have a whole set of them, and I also have their aqua pigments paper, which I'm using here. It's just a watercolor paper that they have created to go with their aqua pigments, and I have to say I really like the results I get when I work with this paper. Now what I'm doing is I'm just applying color over the whole surface of this background, this aqua pigment paper that I'm using, and I'm just kind of switching colors as I go. So I add a little bit of water, I add my color, and then I switch to another color, and I'm trying to make sure to add colors that I know will blend well together. So at the top I started with blue, and then I went to a little bit of turquoise and then some green, and I'm bringing in some orange and then yellow up from the bottom. So it's going to blend together a little bit, but it won't muddy because these are all colors that will blend together well. So the yellow and the orange can blend together, and the yellow and the green can blend together, and it's not going to look terrible because these colors will just complement each other. So the first thing I did is I just covered my whole background with these colors, and then I went ahead and I dried it. And then after I dried it, I'm going to be putting on a second coat because that just builds up this layer of colors, and it helps that background to be a little bit more colorful and a little bit more intense. So you can see I just dried it there, and now I'm going in with my second layer of colors, and I'm just applying them the very same way I did the first time. So I'm using the same colors, I'm applying it with my brush and some water, and just kind of blending these colors together. So I have blue, I have turquoise, I have green, and then yellow and orange. Now the Brutus Monroe aqua pigments, they stayed with just pretty much the plain colors to name their aqua pigments. They have blue, red, pink, turquoise, blue, green. So it makes it really easy to pick out your colors. Now I'm going ahead and I'm just sprinkling on some plain water to my background, and I'm going to let it set because this will give it sort of a bleached effect when I blot it up with a towel. So now I'm letting that water set, and I'm giving you a look at this folder here. So it has some of these little cutout areas, and that's where it's going to cut out when you run it through your die cutting machine. So now I'm going in with my towel, and I'm just sopping up some of that water, and you can see how it gives you these beautiful bleached spots. So it gives you a little bit of texture on your background. Now I'm going to be running my background through my Platinum 6 using these cut and emboss folders. I'm just making sure that my paper is all the way up into the top of this folder before I close it, and running it through my Spellbinders machine. And you're going to see how beautiful this detailed embossed background is, and how well it cuts out these little cutout areas. They popped out really easy. I didn't really need to work with them too much. So it cuts and embosses at the same time, and it really leaves you with this really stunning background. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere my front panel to my card base. I'm just using a plain white card base. This is some heavyweight white cardstock, and I'm just adhering it down with my ATG gun. After my background was onto my card, I decided I needed a sentiment for it. So I went really simple with a sentiment since my background has a lot going on anyway. I just took a little bit of black cardstock. I'm prepping it because I'm going to be embossing. And I'm using one of these sentiments from my Brutus Monroe Super Sentimental stamp set. This stamp set just has a variety of different sentiments that's perfect for any kind of card. So I really love this sentiment stamp set, and I grab it for almost all my cards. So I have my embossing ink there, and I'm just pressing it down onto my black cardstock. I like to hold it for a few seconds so some of that ink can really soak into the paper before I release it. And then I will be embossing this with my white alabaster embossing powder. Now I like to grab a coffee filter and put it behind whatever I'm embossing, and I find that this is just an easy way to capture the rest of that extra embossing powder that falls to the surface of your work area. And it's an easy way to catch it, put it back into your bottle to use again for later. So I'm just tapping off the excess powder there, and I embossed that sentiment and I adhered it down to the middle of my card. And I'm using some of those cutout pieces, those little hearts that came from the cut and emboss folders, and I'm just going to add one here to the front of my sentiment. And I really love those little hearts. You get those little die cut hearts that you can use again on different projects, just with one pass through your die cutting machine. Now to finish this card, I'm just adding some sequins with a little bit of glossy accents, and that pretty much finishes this card. So this is the way that I did both of the cards that I showed you today. I just did a really simple watercolor background, ran it through my Spellbinders machines with these cut and emboss folders, and then added a sentiment and a few little embellishments, and you have some colorful and cheery cards that you can send to friends or family. So I really love these embossing folders. I think they're really unique that they emboss and they cut at the same time. You could do some really fun things like shaker cards with those cutout areas, or put some glitter stock behind them like I did with my first card. But hopefully this gives you a few inspirational ideas, and if you want more details or anything, just head on over to my blog. Otherwise, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.